Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And Lord willing, this will be a brief, but effective lesson. I was reading this article, which, I read a lot of articles, but that's good. That's how you keep up with world events, and you continue to measure the times diligently, as the scriptures say. But in here, this I believe this is the former. Let me see. Yeah, it says the former Russian president Dmitry Medvedev spells it out, right? And then the headline, what it reads is, Medvedev warns Russia has no choice but to unleash nuclear apocalypse if attacked by NATO. And in the article, he basically, says explicitly that if Russia is directly attacked by any member of NATO, the result will be what is known as the nuclear apocalypse, because Russia will, um, you know, unleash their nuclear arsenal. Okay, so they're letting you know straight up, dry and cut. Now, not whether, but at what point it's going to come to that where where NATO does attack Russia, or some major trigger like that happens, that's we know that that's all up to prophecy, okay? Because there's still a few things that need to take place before that actually happens. But keep in mind that a nuclear war is not like a conventional war. A nuclear war is not like what's going on over there with Ukraine and Russia, where you're over 2 years you're hearing, oh, funding is going over here. Oh, this side attacked this side, and they bombed this side, and they did this, and it's just ongoing. A nuclear war is much, much faster than that, because you're talking about major damage here. It doesn't take long to basically destroy another country when you're using nuclear weapons. Okay, so it's pretty much like the finisher, and that's why the Lord has it placed at the end, at the very end, because it's going to be very destructive, but it's also going to be very fast. So let's read a little bit of this, and this should, give you for us that we already know. It's not really a surprise, but it's just more, for people that are not aware, it should be a dose of reality, because the threat of a nuclear war or nuclear apocalypse is becoming more and more prevalent. Okay, alongside with all these other, you know, less than popular news that is coming out, because a lot of people don't like to hear about these things because they don't like these things, but not liking something is not really a valid excuse not to educate yourself on it. Not for the first time, former Russian president Vladimir Dmitry Medvedev has warned that a direct war between Moscow forces and NATO would lead to nuclear apocalypse. The current deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council issued the warning on Telegram Wednesday in response to recent statements and reports that some European leaders are telling their populations to quote unquote prepare for war. Okay? So that should tell you something, right? We're not talking about like, these are things that, once again, years ago, decades ago, you mentioned this, they'll say, oh, that's conspiracy theories. But I mean, you're hearing European leaders tell, as it says here, tell their people to prepare for war with Russia, as they're letting it be known. That should ring a bell in your head. We're talking about like, this is like in your lifetime. For example, just last month, UK Army Chief General Patrick Sanders called on authorities to mobilize the nation to prepare for war with Putin. And what the West has tried to do is, control the narrative into whoever it is that they're against is the bad guy. And that always by default they try to put themselves in a good light. But if you actually pay attention, you'll realize that, well, to the other side of the world, the West are the bad guys. And when you look at the things, some of the things that the West accuses, like Russia or some of these other countries of, they do that and worse. They do that and worse. They say, oh, Russia, they unprovoked, with an uncalled for, unprovoked attack, they went up in there and they invaded Ukraine. Well, how many times has the U.S. gone to countries that did not invite them over there and just went up in there in the name of, being the world police to make things right? Anyway, where are we? Okay. Medvedev mocked this and other examples of NATO leaders accusing Moscow of seeking a broader war as but dangerous drivel. He said that this is all about trying to bolster support for sending more weapons to Kiev amid what's becoming war fatigue among Western publics. And also, you had this interview with Tucker Carlson. I think he ended up interviewing Putin. And now the West, like I was watching a clip. I think his name was Kirby. Is it John or something Kirby? He speaks at the White House press conferences and stuff. And one of the reporters asked him, so how does he think that interview with Putin is going to affect or maybe tarnish support from, the American people for supporting Ukraine and stuff like that. He was pretty much at a loss for words for a good minute before he tried to, catch himself, because they're realizing that it's getting harder and harder to control what people believe. And for a long time, that's been their strongest weapon, or one of their strongest weapons, to control the perception of people. And once you do that, you have a lot of power. Or you don't even have to force them to do anything. If they believe what you're telling them, all you have to do is say the word. But it's harder now because there's so many forms of avenues for information to come out. And the more there are, the harder it is you can't say everything is misinformation, even though they've tried. And now people don't even believe them. So it's becoming a problem. Where are we at? According to Russian media translation of his words, Medvedev said this is part of efforts to prop up Ukraine, a dying country that is foreign to taxpayers, while ignoring problems at home. Therefore, every day the leaders of these countries broadcast, "We need to prepare for war with Russia and continue to help Ukraine," he wrote. That's when he said that people in the West have to be told the blunt truth. Yeah, a lot of people are docile. A lot of people lack the actual proper context of what's happening in the world. Medvedev underscored that Russian response to attack by NATO would be without doubt asymmetrical. He explained, when something is symmetric, it's like if you take a triangle and you cut it in half, you're going to have both sides are going to be symmetric. It's going to be like almost like a mirror, like a reflection of each other. It's equal. Asymmetric is the opposite of that. Okay. So he's saying if NATO attacks Russia, their response is not going to be of equal proportions. It's going to be much, much worse than that, Since our military capabilities are incomparable, like he said, we will simply have no choice. The response will be asymmetrical to protect the territorial integrity of our country. Ballistic and cruise missiles with special warheads will be used. This will be the proverbial apocalypse, the end of everything. This is certainly not the first time that Medvedev, known for this bellicose and hawkish rhetoric, has warned of nuclear apocalypse. But it is the clearest he has ever spelt out that Kremlin would not hesitate to activate its nuclear arsenal if Russian territory is directly threatened by NATO. Okay, so with all these things happening, and these are this is the energy that's being put out there. Well, it's going to ultimately come down to what's written in the scriptures. Okay, and because that's what's playing out. That's the script that's being played out on the earth today. Now, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 18. I'm going to jump around just to hit a few key verses in here, because the Revelation, the 18th chapter, deals with the prophecy of America's destruction, like what happens when America is destroyed, aka Babylon. So Revelation 18:1, after these things, I saw another angel. Now, this is the Apostle John speaking or writing, come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen. And Babylon the Great, as it is written here, is what the world knows today as America. Okay, and the Bible is referred to as Babylon the Great. It's not talking about ancient Babylon, it's talking about this modern Babylon. Babylon the Great is fallen and is become the habitation of devils and the hold of every foul spirit and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. So how is that going to happen? Well, it's going to be destroyed. It's going to fall by way of thermonuclear missiles, which is going to be in the result of World War III. And after that, when all the inhabitants that are on this land are either delivered or destroyed, you're going to have these creatures that are going to come in eventually and start dwelling here. Okay, now I'm going to jump down, like I said, to hit a few other points here. Yeah, this is Revelation 18:9, jumping down to the 9th verse. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. So she fell, but when it says she, is talking about this place. But how? As it says, the smoke of her burning. So that means that fire is going to be involved, right? And why are they going to be bewailing? Not because they care so much about this place, but because they had alliances and businesses and all of that. And they're going to lose that. And they're also going to be in fear. Verse 10, standing afar off for the fear of her torment. Because nobody's going to want to get close to this place as it's being destroyed. Okay, when there's a building that's exploding and there's fire, no, people don't want to run to that. Even if it's your house, your $1 million house, and it's blowing up and it's caught on fire and the whole place is going down in flames, you're going to stand back. You're going to be sad and hurt and mad, but you're going to stand back. You don't want to get close to that. Saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for what? In 1 hour is thy judgment come, because it's going to be quick. It's not going to take 3 years or 10 months in order for once the missiles start flying, for it to do the destruction that it needs to do. Those missiles are very, very, very powerful. Okay, so it doesn't take long for them to do a lot of damage. And it kind of makes sense why the Lord has, he has the angels holding back this destruction, because once he lets it go, that's it. That's it. You either get delivered, especially if you hear on the shores of America, you either get delivered or you get destroyed. Okay, one or the other. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what I wanted to go into. But just going to show you, and you know what's going to happen. There's going to be more and more it's going to be directly in your face, the direction that the world is headed in, and it's going to be exactly in the direction that we've been telling you about. Some people are going to see it, some are not. But at the end, everybody's going to see it. Some are going to see it when they look up and see the missiles coming down. Then it's going to finally hit them. Oh, shoot. But that's going to be too late at that point now, isn't it? Anyway, with that, Lord willing, you were edified and informed. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.